the man felt that an ice age was coming. He quickly spent all his money on a shelter. He transformed his house and stocked up on massive amounts of supplies. 1 month before the apocalypse, he received a phone call. The moment he heard the first sentence, he was completely terrified. His cousin worked at the National Climate Center. She said the Earth would suffer a climate anomaly. First, the temperature would rise by 10 degrees, then it would drop by 200. In short, a glacial apocalypse was about to arrive. He asked in shock if it would be like in the movies. His cousin did not answer his question. She said she already had a shelter and plenty of supplies. She ordered him to prepare immediately as well. Suddenly, the call was completely cut off. It did not seem like she hung up on purpose at all. He thought it was a joke and went to sleep. The next day, he went downstairs to get some fast food. He noticed that even though it was winter, the weather was extremely hot. He felt like wearing short sleeves outside. That was something truly strange for that time of year. A week passed and the heat kept increasing. It was the strangest winter of his life. Then he remembered what his cousin had said before. She was never the type to make jokes. He began to feel very afraid of the future. He called again to confirm if it was real, but her number was disconnected now. His instincts told him it was not a joke. He really needed to prepare for the end of the world. He ran to the mall and bought things like crazy. First, he bought blankets and many thermal jackets. He had also seen many movies about global disasters before, but now that the end was truly coming, his heart filled with anxiety and fear. He had already wasted one of the 4 weeks. Now there were less than 3 weeks left. He could not afford to waste any more time on anything. He rented a villa with a large basement. The heating and electricity would eventually be cut off. By then, the basement would be the warm place. He reinforced the structure with cold-resistant materials. He replaced the doors and windows with strong bulletproof glass. He paid triple the price for the best local builders. Even so, he still always felt a lot of anxiety inside. In the face of a natural disaster, humans are helpless. He had to rely on his ingenuity in order to survive. The supplies he had ordered would arrive by next Monday. He paid extra so they would reinforce everything with quality. They finished 1 day earlier than planned. He generously paid the remaining balance. He always warned them to stay warm. For safety, he did not care whether they believed him or not. When the apocalypse came, he would only look after himself. During the weekend, he bought more things. He looked for portable batteries and a lot of coal to burn. He had asked them to install a fireplace during the previous renovation. He bought a lot of firewood and coal just in case. For the apocalypse, the human heart is dangerous, so a surveillance system was mandatory. He ordered instant noodles in many different flavors. He also bought hot food, snacks, and a lot of drinking water. He bought all the long-lasting food possible. If there had been more space, he would have emptied the entire store. He bought toilet paper and many daily necessities. After organizing everything, he felt very lonely. He had truly been alone for many years already, but the apocalypse caused him panic and unease. The temperature finally began to drop. Outside, he got to work hard again. On one hand, he reinforced his private underground bunker. On the other, he checked whether any important supplies were missing. After thinking about it, he hired another expert team. He reinforced the basement walls against possible earthquakes. He filled the entire basement only with a lot of food. His villa was the largest in the area, but he felt there was still not enough space. He gradually bought more non-perishable food. He even bought a large amount of strong alcohol. If the cold was extreme, drinking would help a lot. He also stored a large amount of fresh meat. Meat can last frozen for a long time. Finally, he went to the pharmacy for common medicines. He bought anti-inflammatory drugs and creams for extreme cold. The night before the apocalypse, he was sitting alone, deep in thought. He had read about the end of the world, but he never truly thought about what would happen to him. He walked to the window and looked at the sky. There was no moon, but the sky was red. His unease reached its peak. At that moment, the first white snowflakes began to fall. It was the sign that the disaster was arriving. He felt hungry and cooked some oatmeal. As long as the gas worked, he would avoid using his reserves. After eating, he looked outside through the window. The snow showed no signs of stopping. There was a farmer's market nearby. People began to stockpile food out of fear. They thought it was only a snowstorm. Some children were playing outside in the white snow. He could not help admiring their innocence. Above all, he was exhausted from working so hard these last few days. He decided to go to bed and rest properly. When he woke up, the electricity and internet were still normal. The news talked about the sudden heavy snow. 2 weeks passed in the blink of an eye. For 14 days, the sky was dark red. The sun never appeared there again. It was as if the sun had never existed. The snow stopped, but the cold kept dropping. There were fewer and fewer people on the streets. Many things happened during those 2 long weeks. He stocked up on more fresh vegetables for his diet, but his parents' inheritance was almost gone. As the cold dropped, prices rose quickly. The children who had been playing before were no longer there. He learned that the northern regions no longer had electricity. They had completely lost contact with the outside world. Since the disaster was sudden, many people suffered from the cold without heating. They had to go to the shelters. Fortunately, he lived in a wealthy neighborhood. Almost everyone had a lot of food stored at home. The heating and electricity were still working well, so he did not need to go to any shelter. Another week passed, and he checked the temperature inside his house. It was 19 degrees inside. He turned on the heater and covered himself with blankets. Although the heating was working, it was not very effective. Many people in the neighborhood left that day, probably because their food had finally run out. The neighborhood chat was very active. Today, many people still thought it was a simple passing storm. Nothing out of the ordinary, just heavy snow. They believed that with food, they would be fine very soon. But one message caught his attention. A woman said her son had a fever. She was asking for fever medicine and some food. He remembered the children playing some time ago. Could that child be one of the children he had seen? He felt a little pity for the situation, but since he had read many apocalypse novels before, he knew very well what that really meant. At the end of the world, compassion kills, so he said nothing in the group. Revealing that he had supplies would bring endless danger. If they knew how much he had, they would try to force their way in. With his fragile body, he could not defend himself well. He decided to ignore all the pleas for help from outside. It was better not to bring trouble upon himself because of others.